guest today is residential real estate broker Vickey Barron. In her career, Vickey has sold more than $2.5 billion in properties, including the record-breaking sale of the penthouse at Walker Tower for $51 million back in 2013. Vickey, it's so great to have you with us. You started in 1999 in the city. You didn't have any contacts, you didn't know anyone in the city, and you went after the for sale by owner market. Why did you take that approach?
Well, I'd like to tell you that it was a strategic plan. However, it was not. I was in a training class at Douglas Elliman, and we had an assignment to call 3 for sale by owners. So I went home that night and, of course, had to do my homework, picked up the phone. I was as green could be. And I made that phone call, and I got voice messages on the machine, and it said, if you are calling about the apartment, leave your name and number. If you are a broker, no brokers. Beep. So at that moment, you know, I come from a place of honesty. I had to disclose I was an agent, and I said, I just simply have a question, and I promise it'll be painless if you could just write my name and number down and call me back. But the woman did call me back, and when she called me back, I was respectful, and I was polite, and I was honest, and I asked her questions, and then she invited me in to take a look at the apartment, and 2 weeks later, she woke up with a big fat headache and said, I don't want to be an agent. And she was interviewing agents and said, because of my approach of not being salesy and not being pushy and just having a conversation, she trusted me, and she gave me the listing. And that one listing, which was $465,000, has turned into over $18 million worth of business, because one refer another will refer another one, and that's how I got started, because I didn't know anyone. So if it wasn't for that, I have no idea what I'd be doing.
So it almost seems a little counterintuitive. You were always told, go after what you want, be pushy, be aggressive, go get it.
Yeah.
But that wasn't kind of what worked for you.
To this day, I don't do that. And this is why I get so involved at Rebney and helping agents, because it's painful for me to watch them, because and I tell them, who's telling you to do that? What are you reading? Stop reading that and stop doing that. And people in New York especially are far too bright, and they see through that. So keep it simple, keep it honest, and just get out of your own way, and and really think about the other person, what's important to them. As soon as agency, commission, you know, they're all about the money. It's like, I tell them, I make a decent living working for free and not focusing on the money.
Have you ever lost out on a deal by taking that step back approach?
Yes, and that's okay, because everyone needs to eat. So I believe that we're in a city of abundance. There's enough business, it's everywhere.
So much about this industry is about trust, and it's about building relationships. Mm-hmm. You've had 2 stints at Douglas Elliman, mm-hmm. a stint at Core, mm-hmm. and a stint at the Corcoran Group.
Correct.
What's it like when you have to break that relationship?
When I left Elliman back in, I don't know what year it was, 5 years ago, and I walked into Stephen James and then Dottie Herman, and I sat with them. It was very painful, because I was not unhappy, and I was very grateful that I had, I think at the time, 12, 13 years with Douglas Elliman. When I was at Core, which was a good stint, it was a win-win, I think, for both sides, but it's very different, a small firm versus a larger firm. And when Elliman kept such a good relationship with me, to go back, it was easy to make that transition back home. And this move to Corcoran is purely, as I told Howard, I sat with Howard, and he was very grateful as well, and I said, we're not 30 years old anymore. We make a move, it's not about money, it's about a strategic move for a long-term plan for a business model. It's pure business, and I believe at Corcoran, with Corcoran Sunshine and Corcoran, this is a good platform for me to continue, and my team, and it makes good business sense.
A lot of brokers, well, some brokers see that their listings drop. They see a little bit of a drop off in their business when they make that jump. Was that something that you feared or you were concerned about?
I don't fear that. So I don't fear it, because again, I think it's a city of abundance, and what's meant for you is not going to miss you. You can have a hiccup, if you will, in the business, like if you make a move, it's short term. It'll only be short term while you get your ducks in order. And no, why do we say ducks in order? I don't go, is that like a duck hunting thing? I don't know where that came from. But anyway, when you put your business plan in motion, it can take a little while. So I suppose you could have a little drop off in the beginning, but you're planting seeds. And if you're strategic and you have confidence, I think those seeds will bloom and you'll be fine.
You made the jump with your team, which you have both your daughters on your team.
Yes.
What's that like? What's it like working with your kids?
Well, first of all, the eldest, Tika, for 7 years she worked with me at Element, and there was an award being given, and I was not in town. And Stephen James said, could Vickey's daughter, Tika, come up and accept the award? The emails and the phone calls after, no one had an idea that she was my daughter, because she does not like to call me mom at work, because she doesn't want customers to say, oh, go ask your mom. So for many, many years she'd say, can I call you Vickey at work? And I'd say, sure. And she's married, her last name's different. No one knew she was my daughter. And when they found out, it was pretty comical.
Yeah.
And once in a while people say, you guys kind of look alike. And now the cat's out of the bag.
And you've got your second daughter working with you as
Yes,
well.
Pacey. Now, Pacey has the same last name, so it's a little harder to keep that a secret. But she fought me for 5 years out of college. She did not want to join real estate. She went into marketing, advertising, and she was successful, but all of her friends consistently said, you're constantly looking at real estate. Put the tablet down. You're not in real estate. Your mom's in real estate. Maybe it's in your blood and you should just join her. So she eventually did. And by the way, both of them are excellent. Tika does more of the resale business, and Pacey jumped on board with the new development, and the developers love her, and the back office people love her.
What would you say is the hardest stage of a career for a broker? Is it when you're first starting out, or is it further along the line when you've got the pressure of bigger listings?
The newbies that don't know what they're doing, they get all the attention, and I'm involved helping them. And the rock stars get all the attention because they're rock stars. But if I had my own firm, which I won't because I don't have time for that, but if I did, I think the people that are in the middle, that are a sure horse, like they know what to do to get a transaction completed, but they don't know how to become a rock star. I think those are the people that can get overlooked. So no one really nurtures them to push them to that level. And I think they struggle. They get stuck there.
How much of it do you think is natural ability and personality versus stuff that you can learn, things that you can pick up?
I teach this at Rebney, and I'm telling you, if we ever filmed it, it could be a reality show. It is almost comical. Like I get the agents to come up on stage, and some of them I want to say, you need to go home. Like just, this is not going to work. I don't care how many classes they go to, how many books they read, they don't have in their belly what it takes to really do it. And it's painful because I feel bad because they're working really hard and they show up, but it's not everyone's cut out for it. It's just, everyone wants to do it, but not everyone can do it.
What are your weaknesses?
I think one weakness is I'm known for being brutally honest. So the weakness is sometimes I need to maybe sugarcoat the truth a little bit. Like I was just in a new development meeting and they brought up the building, what they're going to build this building, and I was just mortified. I said, please just don't build that. Like, who's going to sell that? I can't sell that. And I could have thought of a nicer way to say it.
That actually leads us into new development generally. It's something that you've done a lot of. You were seller on 100 Barclay. You did Walker Tower, where you sold that penthouse for that record 51 million.
Yes.
And you're doing other things. It's a very tough market this year. It's different to what it was last year and the year before. How are you getting buyers over the line?
Through education. You have to educate the buyers on the options. So what the market we're in right now is very different because there's an abundance of options in new development. We were in a market where you had to beg for an appointment to get in because they were going so quickly.
People were buying off blueprints.
Exactly, and there was so little choices. Now they have too many choices. They take too long to make a decision. They have difficulty making decisions. And then when they have that many choices, they get caught up in their own process. Analysis paralysis, that's my favorite saying. They all have analysis paralysis. So because there are so many options, fear sets in and they can't make a decision.
So what do you, when you're pitching on a project, how do you balance that when you're going, I've got a developer who's a little bit of a gambler, but I know I'm going to have to sell this to people who are going to be not gamblers. They're going to be people who are spending a lot of money. They're the biggest investment of their life in most times.
Well, that's why I get in trouble being so honest, because I tell them if the product is not good and they want some ridiculous number, I just tell them you're not going to get it. Your product is not good. You have no views. It's a bad location. And there's some I won't take. I don't want to be on it because the formula doesn't make sense. And they may have been a gambler and they went down that lane, and good for them, but that's going to be not a fun path.
Who was the last person you said that to, where you said, I don't want to do this, isn't working?
I probably should take the fifth on that one and not. They're redesigning their buildings, so hopefully they'll come back with something a little better.
So you say to people, this isn't going to work, I don't want to sell this, and you lose out on the project.
100%. I do that on resale and I do it in new development. Again, everyone has to eat. Let someone else take that. And you know what? Maybe they'll love it. I don't love it. So if I don't love it, how am I going to sell it? When I love something, you want me on that project. Like Walker Tower, that excited me because I understood that building from an architectural standpoint is just off the chart good, and what he was doing with the finishes was going to be in a lane of its own. So I was thrilled to be able to work on that, and I was passionate about it. And people, the biggest compliment I got was people would come 6 months or a year into it. They'd say, I'm not sure if you were more enthusiastic then or now. And now it's 4.5, 5 years later, the resales are $5,000 a foot. And brokers say the same thing. Vickey, your eyes still light up when you show that product because it's a really good product.
Walker Tower wasn't an overnight success though, was it?
No, it was not.
It didn't sell that quickly.
And thank you, Miriam, for saying that. It was not. People forget. They say, oh, it was so successful because that was the market. That was not the market. First of all, when we launched, it's not the best location. We don't have a live-in super. We don't have a lot of amenities. And the price per square foot was off the chart high. And everyone said, you're insane. And it took a long time to sell. They did not sell overnight. We never lowered a price. We increased prices all along the way because every time I would walk a new unit as it was getting built, I'd get more excited and say, raise the price, raise the price. And
people talk about the standstill, though, that you can be in when brokers are saying lower and the developer's saying, no, we don't want to lower. I guess it's a kind of an awkward situation when everyone wants to sell the product, obviously, at a good price.
Yes.
But everyone has a different view of how that's going to happen.
Yes, and it causes a lot of conflict in those meetings because everyone's on a different page. Listen, there are some developers I sit in the meetings and say, you're never going to get that price. Like, you're not getting it. You're dreaming. I don't know where you came up with the idea, but it's not happening. So I'm brutally honest on the other end as well. Like, your prices are too high. I do it with sellers and, resale. You're not getting that.
What's your view on prices on the high end generally in both resale and new development in terms of where they're going to go in the next year? Do you think they're going to weaken more?
I think that depends on the product. Who's the end user and are they going to pay X? And you have to be able to figure out what the delta is and
But the high end has seen a dip in prices, hasn't it?
Oh, yes. Well, they say, okay, the air is thin up there. You hear people say, oh, the air is thin up there in that price point. And it is. So will everything sell that's in the high price point? No. But why is it that some do? Why is it that some sell? You write about them. Oh, this just went in contract, 24 million. Oh, this went in 30 million. I just sold a 2-bedroom at Walker Tower, a 2-bedroom for $14,750,000, just closed last week. Do you know how many phone calls I got and emails like, you're out of your mind, no one is going to pay that for a 2-bedroom? Well, someone did. And now I just listed Laura Mercier's apartment, another 2-bedroom, no outdoor space, $11 million. And I'm going to right now tell you that I will guess that will be in contract within a month.
Are people telling you to cut the price? Are they saying?
Yeah, they all call me and say, Vickey, what is a 2-bedroom? Who's going to pay this for a 2-bedroom? Well, someone will, because it's a good one. They're just not all equal. Real estate in Manhattan is not all equal.
Over the past few months, there's been so many stories and so much airtime given to this strained relationship between brokerages and StreetEasy. What's your take on the firm's decision to pull their feed from StreetEasy? What do you think about that?
And listen, I think StreetEasy, no one's going to argue, has been an amazing tool. And I can see both sides of it. I mean, I can see StreetEasy wanting the money.
I mean, they're a business like anyone else.
They're a business, exactly. I don't fault them for that. I think it's an amazing company, and I've supported them, and I still do support them. But I can also see the firms and agents being fearful that if, like there was one firm that said it would cost them $4 million a year just on the rentals. So then if that's just that, then what happens if that, $3 per day per listing goes to $4 and $5, and all of a sudden $4 million gets increased? What if then it goes over to the sales, and then what, when is it stopping? So I think it's just the fear of what's next. So they're taking a pause to, they're all businesses. They're all trying to make good business moves.
Were you one of the brokers that was angry about Premier Agent?
If I'm selling your apartment and then some agent that knows nothing about your building and your apartment, and maybe they did one deal in there 8 years ago, but they're paying to be that agent to get the phone calls, that's not really servicing you the best, because if I got that phone call, I perhaps would be able to answer those questions and articulate in a way that would serve you as a seller better. So that person also could get that phone call and have a motivation to take that buyer elsewhere.
Zumper, the online platform, rolled out a new brokerage a couple of weeks ago. And there have been rumours about StreetEasy starting its own brokerage. Does that worry you that that would be in the works, that brokers could become obsolete?
There are a lot of agents that should be worried about something like that, because there are some agents that don't bring value to the process. And if that's the case, I'd be worried. But the agents, and there are plenty of them, that have real value and really understand the market, and people have difficulty making decisions. It's just human nature. I think, look, there are friends you have that go shopping for a dress. Like, I don't know, they have to ask 5 people their opinions. They can't decide. It takes them forever to buy a dress. So they're trying to buy a piece of real estate, and they like the idea that they have someone that they can trust that has knowledge. It's not that they can't get the information. I always tell my people, I don't bring value in you finding a listing. Anyone can find the listing. Where I will bring value is when you're torn between 2 or 3 options. I don't know if I want 21st Street or the one on 18th Street, the condo, the co-op, and then I can sit with them and I can educate them and give them information. I'm not selling them. I'm partnering with them with data and information and my knowledge from many of years of doing this, so I can share it with them and they can digest that and make the best decision for them. So this is, when you have that ability, people will want you by their side, because it's insurance.
So until we can teach a computer to help a human make a decision, agents are safe?
I think we're safe. If they come up, if StreetEasy has a computer that can emotionally connect with the people and help them make decisions, until then, I think we're good.